give the cub that's on the edge of the waterfall, kind of a little cuff. That one has not approached her as closely. So it seems to have gotten the message that maybe, it needed to stay back from the edge of the waterfall. But we do see here, her turning around, looking at her cubs. And mother bears have to spend a lot of time, in what you could call behaviors that are just, vigilant. If she was by herself, she wouldn't be looking behind her nearly as much. She could concentrate a lot more on just looking for salmon to jump towards her. So mother bears definitely face a lot of challenges. Protecting their offspring is a great challenge. And that means you have to keep tabs on your cubs. You have to watch for other bears to approach you and your family. And that equals less time and energy that you can spend towards gathering food and catching food. But she was paying attention that time. Caught that fish. She's been catching many fish this evening. And that cub's approaching. It's hungry. If you have a family at home and you're trying to feed children, you know how much kids can eat. Well, just imagine trying the one bear cub that has approached mom a few times. The other one has never left sort of that edge of the river, standing over here. So the differences, between cubs within a litter can be quite marked, even in their first summer. And these are cubs in their second year. Number 402 has another one. I regret now actually not keeping track of how many fish she has caught. It's been a lot. It's certainly well over 5. It's maybe closer to 10. And we didn't show all of those during the broadcast. And she's been, providing a tremendous amount of energy to these offspring over the past, few months after they have come out of the den. In the springtime, the cubs, they're gaining, most of their nourishment from her. You can see that cub reaching in, trying to get some scraps from mom. She's not, being cooperative. She needs those calories for herself just as much as she needs them to nurse her offspring. And it doesn't look like the cub was able to get any fish scraps that time. Number 410 here with the fish. She had one stolen earlier from the bear that's walking above her. It looks like maybe he's distracted by his own fish, and he did get some scraps that was drifting downstream. And that partial carcass was courtesy of bear 747, who's very, very well fed, very fat bear. So he's doing a little bit of that high grading tonight, not eating the whole carcass, just eating the more preferred parts of it, of the fish. Let's take a look at number 410. She's a bear that's very tolerant of the presence of other bears. That might be one reason why she can walk to Brooks Falls and not be displaced, from the falls completely. She's a big girl too, so that factors into it. But I think other bears sort of, have learned to recognize that she is not particularly aggressive around them, so maybe they can tolerate her close proximity. Downstream, that story of courtship still happening. 856, the real dominant bear here at Brooks Falls, sitting in the river looking downstream. The one on the rock is the female that he's been following, trying to get access to for the opportunity to mate. And that's number 289. Earlier in the day, though, she was mating, it looked like, with the bear that's walking into view right now, and that's number 89 backpack, a younger male. So 856 wasn't quite able to guard, access to that female bear 100% of the time. He wasn't paying attention for a few moments, and sometimes with bears it is, almost love at first sight, so to speak. And they will mate after just encountering one another. But in many cases, there's a period of time where the female is not receptive to the advances of the male. And 856 is sort of going through that process right now, just following her, waiting for the right moment. And a couple of other bears way downstream. Again, those are areas where less dominant bears tend to fish, maybe females with cubs too, just because they don't really match up to the competition that you find at Brooks Falls. That area downstream, though, will become more and more important to bears in the fall as salmon spawn. That's an area that's heavily spawned by salmon. The river is almost dug up. The river bottom in that area is dug up almost completely each year by spawning salmon. So bears will use that area more frequently in September and October, looking for spawning salmon, and the ones that are too weak to swim away, the ones that are already dying. And it's almost 20 after 8 p.m. Alaska time, and this is July 7th, 2016. My name is Mike Fitz, and I'm a park ranger at Katmai National Park and Preserve. I'm going to conclude the broadcast in just a moment. I'd like to thank everybody who joined me this evening from your home, wherever you're watching across the world. Look for other live broadcasts from rangers from time to time on our bear cams. I think the next one might be this Saturday with Ranger Dave and Ranger Daniel. I won't be joining them for that, but you can tune in and watch them. They'll have a very interesting topic to talk about related to bears and salmon here at Brooks River. And we'll be in the chat on explore.org too to try to answer your questions in that format. So please join the community. It's a great community. It's a community of animal lovers, bear lovers, national park supporters. And I'd like to thank everyone behind the scenes at explore.org who make these webcams a reality.